And Johann Hari joins us on the line from Scotland, a journalist for The Independent of London. His article, "The War the World Ignores," was published in The Independent earlier this summer. We welcome you all to Democracy Now! I wanted to begin with Johann Hari. We're talking about the elections today, but we put this in the context of a war in the Congo that's taken the lives not of thousands or hundreds of thousands, but millions of people. Can you talk about the situation in the Congo today?
Well, this is the deadliest war since Adolf Hitler's armies marched across Europe, and it's a war that has still not ended. But I think what's really important for people to understand is this is not a distant tribal war that has nothing to do with you. It's a war whose trail of blood leads absolutely directly to London, to New York, to Paris, to the laptop people will be listening to this on, to their remote control, to their mobile phone, and indeed to their diamond necklace if they're foolish enough to spend their money on one. I always think going to Congo is a bit like, you know, the TV series Lost, where that group of plane crash survivors think that they're stranded alone on a desert island until one day they're going through the jungle and they discover this metal cable that leads out into the ocean, and they realize they're in fact connected to the world beyond very closely. The Democratic Republic of Congo is full of cables like that, connections from seemingly isolated and incomprehensible acts of violence to our world and indeed to your own apartment. Just to give people a sense of the scale of the suffering there. I've covered, I've been to Iraq, Palestine, some of the poorest parts of South America. The sheer quantity and quality of suffering in Congo is markedly worse than anything I'd seen in those countries. Going to hospitals full of women who'd been gang raped and then shot in the vagina, a common practice. Going to villages where child soldiers had been made to kill their own father so they couldn't run away back to their family. Unimaginably extreme violence is happening there. And I think it's important to understand because there's a complicated kind of official story about what happened in the war in Congo and how it began. And then there's the real story. The official story is that after the end of the Rwandan genocide, the Hutu power genocidaires, the psychopaths who murdered 800,000 people in just 100 days, fled across the border into Congo. And the official story of how the war began is the Rwandan president, Paul Kagame, ordered the Rwandan troops across the border to hunt down these genocidaires. And then Uganda, a neighboring country, also invaded to get some of its criminals. And then Kagame appealed to some of the surrounding countries, like, sorry, not Kagame, the president of Congo appealed to some of the surrounding countries to
And I just wanted to clarify, when you say genocidaires for people in the United States, you mean the killers in Rwanda?
The people who committed the genocide, exactly. And the Congolese president appealed to some of the surrounding countries to come and help him against this invasion. So in a sense, in that story, the war in Congo is like a kind of the First World War, just a gigantic cock-up, you know. Someone acts out of a good motive and then it all spirals and goes wrong. It's a nice story, it's a reassuring story, it's also completely untrue. The United Nations established a panel of experts once the war had completely spiraled to find out what really happened. And what they said, what the panel of experts found, is that in fact these countries all acted as, in their words, armies of business. They went into Congo not to track down killers, but to seize the country's unbelievably immense mineral wealth, to grab it and to sell it out to New York, to London, to Paris, to the developing world. So they seized, for example, coltan, which at that time had a huge market spike. Coltan is a metal that is extremely good at conducting heat. You have it in your cell phone, in your remote control and so on, and in your laptop. And Congo has one of the largest stocks of it anywhere in the world. And there was, at that point, a big spike in the global price, partly because of Sony PlayStations, which contain coltan. So as one human rights campaigner in Congo put it, so kids in New York and London could play imaginary war games. Kids in Congo were enslaved and sent down coltan mines. So we know that this story is the real story, partly because the Rwandan army, when it went into Congo, didn't go to where the Hutu power people who committed the genocide were. They went to where the mines were. And indeed, we have memos that were unearthed by Human Rights Watch that show that the Rwandan army actually gave orders to collaborate and cooperate with the Hutu power people in the rape of Congo. This continues right to the present day. You still have, I went to mines that were controlled effectively by slave labor, where they were owned by the militias. So you can't ever have a unified state in Congo while you have this situation. The government doesn't control the resources. So you've got a situation where the government is trying to get the country to be united by bribing, paying soldiers to join the national army. The problem is, if you go to the camps, the Congolese National Army camps, as I did, people are paid $5 a month if they're lucky. There were people dying of AIDS just in the barracks. There were people starving, people with their children there starving. And they were saying, well, look, if we join the National Army, we get $5. If I go out and join one of the militia groups that control a gold mine or a diamond mine or a cassiterite mine or a coltan mine, I can get $60 a month. What should I do? So it guarantees that Congo, the fact that we in the outside world are still buying these blood-soaked minerals, guarantees that Congo can't be unified. And the United Nations identified some of the most core multinationals as responsible for this: Anglo American, De Beers, Barclays Bank. And what's really shameful is this is a war fought for us so that we can have these resources. But when our governments were informed by the United Nations that they were cooperating with that their corporations were collaborating and indeed causing some of the worst human rights abuses anywhere in the world, our governments didn't react by holding these corporations to account. They reacted by saying to the UN, why has our company been put on this list? The companies lobbied very hard, not just in the Bush administration, but in Britain, in Germany, all over the developed world, to say, get us off the list. And lots of them were taken off the list. It's a disgrace, and it's a real disgrace to us, because last time there was this scale of mass slaughter in the Congo in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, when the Belgians colonized it and killed 10 million people, basically turned the country into a giant rubber plantation. There were mass campaigns across the developed world, led by people like Joseph Conrad, Arthur Conan Doyle. There were questions asked in the Senate. There were huge mass meetings in London. The same thing has happened in our lifetimes, and we've done virtually nothing. It's very easy to lose hope, but I always think of whenever I do feel despair about the situation in Congo, and it is, there are scenes that come back to you. I saw a guy being beaten to death. I went to a pygmy village where a guy had been beheaded the day before. It's awful. I think about the incredibly brave people in Congo I met who were fighting. I met an extraordinary man who was a kind of Oscar Schindler of the Congolese mass rapes, who had been treating women who'd been horrifically subject to sexual violence by the different armies of business, who treated these women in secret because he would have been killed if he hadn't. I think about, there was a guy called Bertrand Bisimwa, a fantastic Congolese human rights activist. He said to me, I thought he summarized the situation brilliantly. He said, you know, people have looked at Congo for over 100 years, and they've seen a great big pile of riches with some black people inconveniently sitting on top of them. And he said to me just before I left, you know, it's your country and the developed world that has been doing this to Congo. So tell me, who are the savages, you or us?
We're talking to Johann Hari. He's a journalist with The Independent in London. The piece that he did is called "A Journey into the Most Savage War in the World, My Travels in the Democratic Vacuum of Congo."